Let's bring in the Herald Sun's Susie O'Brien from Melbourne and 2CC breakfast host Stephen Cenatiempo in Canberra. Thanks for joining us, guys. Just an hour and a half or so to go till the People's Forum. No doubt Peter Dutton and Anthony Albanese are watching as we speak. What's your advice to them, Susie?
Don't muck it up, don't fall off the stage and answer every question succinctly. And I think what people are actually wanting from both of the leaders is something that is just genuine and not listening like, not as if they're just reading talking points. We actually want to know what they're going to do to reduce the cost of living and what they're going to do about the tariffs and how that's going to affect us.
You know, the breaking news is that Anthony Albanese has asked for proper safety fencing around the back of the stage. I'm only joking. I'm only joking. He'll be very careful. What would you advise the two contenders, Stephen?
Well, to the Prime Minister, try to tell the truth and actually pretend you're the leader of the country, not just a bystander. And Peter Dutton, attack the scare campaigns. Go after him. Don't just sit back and maybe deliver some real policy.
Yeah, I think this is fundamental. You know, you can't just succumb to scare campaigns. You have to call them out and combat them. And for instance, when it's, you know, public servants all having a lend of us by all working from home all the time, you've got to have the courage of your convictions and actually argue the toss and get it. And of course, you believe in flexible workplaces. Everybody does. It's a fact of life now. But the public servants in Canberra shouldn't be having a lend of us. But Susie, they've allowed that one. That, you know, they've embarrassed themselves by having to backflip on that one, not because the policy was wrong, but because they failed to explain it.
Hear.
Well, I mean, the thing is, a lot of the public servants are on enterprise bargaining agreements anyway, and so the government isn't able to strip that back. But exactly. I think what people found they didn't explain well enough was what this would mean. Would this just be about the federal public service, or would this have wider implications? And a lot of people, particularly out in the outer suburbs where there's a long commute into work, we're really scared that this might have implications for them. And so this was something that was not playing well in the electorate, particularly not playing well with women. Perhaps it wasn't badly explained, but I think it was very poorly sold.
Look, I just had a bit of a look at the ALP Instagram feed earlier this afternoon, Stephen, and it looks to me that Albo might be bringing some extra equipment to tonight's People's Forum. Have a look.
They are completely delusional. Completely delusional. They are delulu with no salulu. Delulu with no...
What are the chances he's going to launch into some rap during the debate?
Drop some sick beats. Oh, I mean, seriously. I got to say, you know, I've been following election campaigns for nearly 30 years now, and I've got to say this is the worst one, the most lacklustre one I've ever seen, where we've got a government just trying to pretend that it hasn't been in power for the last 3 years and an opposition that seems to be afraid of its own shadow. Maybe we need a bit of entertainment like that. I don't know.
I tell you what, I reckon he's a chance to slip the Lulu with no Salulu in there at some stage. Hey, just on the debate...
Well, somebody would have dared him to do it.
Yeah, just on the debate, you know, it's the Sky News People's Forum. We put a lot of effort into politics on this station. We're not everyone's cup of tea, we know that. But God, we work hard to cover politics, and Kieran and the team, and Paul Murray with his People's Forums and pub tests, we do these things very well, and they're great for our political debate. So on Channel 9 this morning, have a look at old mate Andrew Probyn here. He talks about this, doesn't even bother to tell their viewers where this thing might be happening.
Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and Peter Dutton are preparing to go head-to-head tonight to battle it out in their first election debate. Live to Nine's National Affairs editor Andrew Probyn in Sydney. Andrew, what can we expect?
Well, we can expect some unpredictability, and there's the risk for both leaders. These leaders' debates are uncontrolled environments, which is anathema to the way that both sides would like to campaign. Questions can come on any subject, and there's the risk.
Ah, come on, Probes. You could tell people it's on Sky News. Some of your viewers might actually want to watch or log on to the website and see it. Have a look at this. Even the ABC, our great foes at the ABC, actually respect their audiences and tell them that the debate, the People's Forum, is going to be on Sky News. They understand that this is information people actually might want to be aware of. So that's my little bitch about the media today. Let's go on to the $5 note. And we've talked before about how the government effectively, they've blamed the RBA, but the government's effectively said, yeah, get rid of the monarch off the $5 note, redesign a new one, and they want it to be an Indigenous one. Well, it's cost $500,000 already. They haven't even designed it, Susie. I mean, they should have just made it a kid, year 7 drawing competition.
Oh, this is just a debacle. They've spent $500,000 already, and they've visited 100 different Indigenous communities across Australia. They've had 2,000 submissions, and yet they still don't have a final design. And we're months off getting to the bottom of exactly what's going to be there in their commitment to country. But what's funny today is it's come out. The Monarchs Association have drawn up their own $5 bill with Charles on it and some nice sort of nods to country rather than country taking over. Yeah. And it just would be an interesting alternative where you've actually got a bit of both. And I quite like that. Yeah. As someone who was quite happy to see Charles ditched, I think they've done a good job.
The Monarchist League, yeah, they've put that one together. They've got Uluru there and King Charles and some Indigenous design. They'll probably get attacked now, Stephen, for cultural appropriation, I think, in that design.
Probably. Well, I have it on good authority. There was an argument between the Prime Minister and the Treasurer. It was like $500 million. Surely we could have spent more than that.
All right, we'll see. Good luck watching the People's Forum tonight. Thanks for joining us, Stephen Cenatiempo and Susie O'Brien there. I'll be watching it tonight and I'll file my take on it for the Australian straight afterwards, so jump online there if you like. Just some of your feedback from what we showed you last night about that nickel factory in Indonesia. Kim says Labor must be stopped. Don't vote Labor, Green or Teal. And Paul says it's time to drop the net zero BS. So there you go. And Will says, I'm surprised the mainstream media touched this topic. Maybe the tide is turning. Yeah, absolutely. It was a great report from Channel 7's Spotlight program that we brought you snippets of last night. It was a great report. And it's the problem with this stuff, creating more pollution than they're saving.